Good afternoon, folks. This is Scott Giorgini, live and direct from Buffalo, New York. Thanks for joining us today for this My Resultz Saturday training. Just got in the door myself. I was actually doing a live training today in beautiful, sunny Buffalo, New York. Sunny but cold. So I am fireside today. And again, for the second week in a row, I am breaking rule number one of webinar protocol, and that is I'm sitting here with my dogs. So if you hear them making noise in the background, you're going to know why. But they're both sleeping right now, so hopefully they're going to stay that way. I'm going to go through a little bit of training today, and then I'm going to be available to take your questions as well. Obviously, we are in a change phase here in My Resultz. Actually, we're just going to take what we already have as a foundation and grow upon it. So just so you know, I am making the transition into taking over a lot of the customer service issues, and I'm going to be working really diligently this week to upgrade that as best as possible, as quickly as possible. So I'm learning a lot of systems right now and getting ready to take that part of it over. Also, I'm looking at different ways to tweak the program to make it even better than it is. I think it's the most fantastic thing on the planet right now. But there are ways to improve anything, and that's the way I always look at it. And I'm always open to your suggestions. So if anybody has any suggestions at all, I put a post on the Facebook consultant page. Feel free to put your suggestions there. I'd be happy to hear all of your feedback. So let's just get into a little fun training today. I just want to go through a little bit of quick training and a nice story before opening things up to questions. Here we got people logging on from all over the place, I see. And you might have had trouble getting on because I just started the webinar a couple minutes ago. Like I said, I literally just walked in the door from a live training here in Buffalo. So let me dive into the slides that I've put up for you guys today. Again, this is the beginning of the beginning. We know where we're going with My Resultz, and we also know where we are right now. And you know what? Just because we haven't realized our ultimate vision does not mean you shouldn't promote your business. You need to actually be out more strongly than ever promoting this business. You need to be telling people about our amazing product lineup and about the exciting My Resultz home-based business opportunity. Again, the product lineup, there's some breakthrough things there, and we will be adding to it. So it's only going to get better and better as time goes by. But I was just sitting with an enthusiastic group of people here in Buffalo, New York that loved the products. There was a young guy in the room that was raving about the hangover patch and about how crazy him and his friends are going over the hangover patch. I had another gentleman that had a lot of heart issues last year, as did yours truly, unfortunately, but I'm feeling a lot better and I'm really taking the world by storm again. But he told me he's lost 8 pounds so far on the weight release protocol. So that's exciting stuff. And it's something that JJ Meyer worked really hard putting together. And you know what? It's a fantastic program. So if you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do. You might not need the weight release patches yourself. You might not need the weight release protocol, but I'm sure you know somebody who could benefit from dropping a few pounds. I mean, let's face it. Obesity is epidemic in the United States, and it leads to all kinds of horrible issues. And, we're all too familiar with a lot of them. I'm sure a lot of us have lost loved ones to heart disease or diabetes or any of the other myriad of things that could happen because of obesity. And, it just feels good to be a part of My Resultz where we know we can do something to make a difference, even if it's just a little bit of a difference. Now, I was actually on the phone the other day with a good friend of mine that I met off of Facebook, actually. And I had heart issues last year, and so did this guy. So we were just talking on the phone and comparing notes about, things we're doing to improve our lives and to get healthier. And he had told me that he was at the doctor's office and had the opportunity to sit down next to an older gentleman that he didn't even know before he walked in the office. But he said he struck up a conversation with this guy. And he said he was just a wonderful man and was very easy to connect with right away, and just felt an instant rapport with him and was just soaking up the wisdom from this older gentleman who you could tell had done a lot of living. He was 92 years old, I believe. And the guy told my friend something that stuck with him. And that was this. He said, you really don't look around and see too many old fat people. Now think about that, folks. I mean, yeah, you might have some overweight people that are in their 50s, 60s, maybe even 70s, but once you start getting into the 80s and 90s, it's a rare thing. How much quality do you get out of those last, say, 20, 30 years of your life where maybe you have some grandchildren or great-grandchildren you could enjoy, but your life's cut short? Or maybe you're just not living that much quality of life. Maybe you don't get to travel as much as you like because of all the limitations of being obese or overweight. You have joint pain issues or high blood pressure, all the other things that come with being obese. So again, it feels good to have a product like the weight release protocol that we can tell people about. And we could talk to people about that product and just feel good about it. Same thing with the B12 Evergo patches. I mean, folks, B12 deficiency is another rampant thing in the United States these days. There's just no food in our food anymore, let's face it. And it just feels good to be able to give somebody something that that's going to make them healthier. And it's an affordable solution for them to use the B12 Evergo patch. And energy is a huge, huge market sector right now. I mean, how many times do you walk into a convenience store and you look in the freezer there and how many energy drinks are lined up in there? You see the Red Bulls, the Monsters, the Rockstars, the 5-hour energies. But here's the problem with those. Everybody needs an energy boost, folks. A lot of people are on several cups of coffee a day. A lot of people drink the energy drinks like that. But they're all loaded with sugar, with caffeine, and a lot of things in it that just, create an unnatural spike in energy that you crash off of. I mean, how many of you have had an energy drink? Makes you feel twitchy for a little bit, but then when you come down off of it, you feel worse than you did in the first place. So here's the way I look at the B12 patch. I don't really look at it as so much of an energy patch because that's kind of a misnomer. It's not really like giving you a boost like a Red Bull or a Monster would, but it's also not giving you the twitchies. What I call it is a fatigue eraser. It's an even lift of energy to keep you going all throughout the day. Again, time release, so it's all day energy for you, and there's no crashes, no burns, and none of the harmful side effects that you get from the traditional sugary, caffeine-filled energy drinks. So again, we've got a great product lineup to talk about. And of course, the exciting My Resultz home-based business opportunity. Granted, we are in phase 1. We are pre-launching. There are no infomercials yet. We haven't launched any multimedia campaigns yet, but that's our vision. That's our goal. And JJ Meyer can tell you this. David Friend can tell you this. I can tell you this because I was there the first time around as well. We weren't running shows in the beginning of the last time we did direct response network marketing either. And 10,000 people joined that company. Well, why is that, folks? Because we know we have a goal. We know we have a vision of where we're going to go. So don't paint the vision of where we are today. Paint the vision of where we're going to be tomorrow. Let people know what's coming. And you definitely have to let them know before, again, let them know what you're doing before they find out about it on television or on the radio or on the internet, because we're going to do a multimedia blitz. That's our ultimate goal, folks. And, I had people in the past that actually waited. They waited to build a business till the business model was fully unfurled. You know what? Thousands of people ended up getting in under somebody else that they might have gotten because they didn't bother to tell their friends and family and coworkers, et cetera, what they were doing. I got stacks of emails from people that made that mistake. And, here's one of them. I'm going to show you one of them right here. This is an actual email I got from somebody. And I'm going to read it to you. Now, I left the name off because it's just to save her a little bit of embarrassment. And her brother's a very good friend of mine as well. But she wrote to me, I learned a difficult lesson today and wanted to share it with you. You may want to bring it up sometime. The lesson, that is, not the details of my stupidity, LOL. There's someone at work that I always thought would be awesome for this business. I've talked to him about what I'm doing, but never made a mention of the company name or really prospected him. I knew he was working on starting his own computer business and didn't think he would have the time, although I knew he would be a total diamond. Anyway, I just found out today that he signed up 1 week ago and they used IBO in that company, on another team that he didn't even know that he actually saw the infomercial on TV and signed up under a guy he didn't know. So she wrote to me, I'm so devastated and have been sick about it all day. I prospected 2 other coworkers, but never him. My brother has been trying to cheer me up about it, but to no avail. Anyway, hard lesson learned. Tell everyone exactly what you're doing. I have no doubt that if I told this person, he would be on my team right now. And as a matter of fact, folks, that's where we are at. Again, is our vision fully unfurled yet? No. But if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a target, you're not going to hit it. We have a target, folks, and we have to hit that target. And the quickest way to get there is to build our teams, to build the company, to build it to the point where the financial limitations we have now do not keep us from running infomercials on the air. I've told you before, that's a very expensive prospect just to shoot a show, much less test it and do all the other things we want to do with the lead generation off of a show. Now, there's other things we'll do more soon, short form and radio and print and internet things as well, that obviously we'll be able to get there quicker. But to have a full-fledged infomercial is going to take a little doing on our part, and that's why I need each and every one of you, and you guys on this webinar now are the leaders of this company. Make no mistake about it. You're the ones that really need to plug in and build this. And I've told you this before, and I can't drive this home enough. The formula for success in this or any networking business. And, there we go. Talk to a lot of people, you make a lot of money. If you talk to some people, you will make some money. If you talk to no people, you will make, obviously, no money. That is no more true in any other company as it is in this one. The law of large numbers will never fail you. So again, folks, get out there and talk to people. I did a training a couple weeks ago, and I went through a commitment that you can make to talk to at least 3 people a day about your business. If you talk to 3 people a day this month, every day in February, you're going to be talking to almost 90 people. How many of those people are going to sign up in your business, and how many people are they going to bring in? That's the foundation of a future. That's the foundation of your dreams, folks. That's the foundation of an organization that is going to let you live the life of your dreams. Remember, the more qualified prospects you put in the top of the funnel, the more new team members come out the bottom, folks. It's all about numbers. You're going to be getting a lot of no's in the meantime. That's okay. You can't give something to somebody who's not ready to get it. Does that make sense? You can't give something to somebody who's not ready to get it. So even if they say no today, it doesn't mean they're going to say no tomorrow. A lot of people are going to say no today, and they're going to watch you, and they're going to keep their eyes on you, and they're going to see that over the course of time, wow, that person's having some success now. Maybe I should take another look at this thing they're doing. So remember, no does not mean no forever. Now, I'm going to share a little story for you to show you how an organization can grow. And this is a real story. And I actually have 2 stories that are very similar to this, but this is one that was shared to me by a friend of mine from another company named Al, who is he's a 7-figure income earner. He's a superstar in home-based business. That picture is not Al, but I just wanted to bring a picture up of somebody who was probably as excited as Al was when all this went down. Now, Al rose to the top positions in the companies he's been in. And again, he's a 7-figure yearly income earner. So he's got a residual income of over $1 million coming in. Not too shabby, I think we would all agree. Well, Al is originally from Toronto, Canada, which is only about an hour and a half from me. I live in Buffalo. So Al and I did a lot of events together back in the day. And I would drive up to Canada, and I would help train his team, and he would come down here and he would help train our team. Well, one day Al was doing, what you do in network marketing. So you do business launches, private business receptions, whatever you want to call it, at somebody's home, at a place of business, etc. And Al happened to be doing one for somebody who just signed up in the business, and this guy owned his own construction company, and he fancied himself to be a big shot. He had a big ego, big attitude, so he had this big to-do at his house, and he had all of his friends over and had Al to come over to do the private business reception for him, to do a presentation. Well, just like me, the night the guy was having the presentation, his dogs were running around in the house. And, rule number 1, when you're doing one of those, you don't want kids, dogs, or distractions to take people's mind off of what's going on in the presentation. So the guy ended up getting his mother-in-law to go take the dogs into the kitchen to watch the dogs. So she agreed to do that. And she was watching the dogs while the presentation was going on. But, Al, as he was doing the presentation, would look over towards the kitchen, and there was an open doorway in between the kitchen and where Al was doing the presentation. And he could see her sitting in a chair at the table, leaning back and looking in on Al in the presentation and listening into what was going on in that room. So the presentation's over. Al starts to break the room. He starts to close people into the business. Hey, who's interested? Who just wants to buy product, et cetera, and so forth. We've all been there. We all know that's part of the process. And all of a sudden, the mother-in-law comes walking into the room. And she tells Al, hey, you know what? I heard what you said. I was pretty impressed with it. I think I want to sign up in this. So Al's thinking to himself, great, I'll sign this lady up. She's ready to go. But the guy that was hosting the party started giving Al what I call the bad sandwich face. You take a bite out of a sandwich that doesn't really taste that good. You guys know what I'm saying? And he's making a slashing motion across his neck, like, nah, don't sign her up. And she's like, no, really, I want to sign up. And the guy kept going, no, don't sign her up. So Al ends up not signing the woman up that night. But he left a stack of his business cards on the table, as he would do at any presentation. So sure enough, next day, totally unexpectedly, he hears somebody pounding at his door, and it ends up being that lady, ends up being the mother-in-law. And Al was totally surprised. And she said, look, I heard what you said at that presentation, and I want to sign up. My son-in-law does not speak for me, even though he thinks he does. But I'll tell you what, if you don't sign me up right now, I'm just going to go to the company website, and I'm going to sign up all on my own. So Al said, no, don't worry. And he ended up signing her up under the contractor guy. And, ironically, over the course of time, the construction company guy really didn't do much. The mother-in-law, she didn't burn the world up, but she did okay. She was making a profit every month, and she was happy with what she was getting. She had extra spending money in her pocket. And for some people, that's their goal. She was very happy with what she did. So over the course of time, she referred somebody who referred somebody who referred somebody who ended up referring this supermodel chick named Ola. I believe that was her name. She had one name like Cher or Madonna or something like that. And Ola had a habit of running Al all over town to do meetings. Al, I need you to come and sit with my makeup artist. I need you to come sit with my manager. I need you to come sit down with a friend of mine. And Al was, pretty much getting tired of running all over town for these one-on-ones. So one day he sees his cell phone ringing, and it's Ola. Surprise. And she says, Al, I need you to come down to coffee shop number 1 or whatever it was right now. I need you to be here. So Al, he didn't want to go. He knows he has to go support his team member, but he's like, oh, geez, another one of these wild goose chases. She goes, no, you really have to come right now. So he stops what he's doing, and he goes down to the coffee shop, not expecting much because, most of the people that she put Al in front of didn't end up signing up. But he walks into the coffee shop, and who should he see sitting across her at a table in there but Steven Seagal and a rapper named DMX. They were actually in Toronto shooting a movie called Exit Wounds, if you guys remember that one. It came out, I think, in maybe the late 90s, somewhere around there. So Al's completely unprepared for this, doesn't have any presentation materials whatsoever. So he ends up sitting down at the table, and he starts scratching a presentation on a cocktail napkin. And DMX wasn't really interested. He was on his cell phone. He got up, he was walking around. But Seagal's listening to what Al had to say. And all the while, Al's thinking to himself, Ola's a pretty attractive girl. I bet you Steven Seagal just wants to hook up with her, and he doesn't really care what I'm talking about. But Steven's listening to Al. Al gets about halfway through the presentation, and Seagal just kind of stops him. He goes, I've heard enough. Where do I sign? What do I got to do to get started? So Al thinks, okay, he just wants to get together with Ola, but, I'll sign him up anyway. And so he signs up Steven Seagal, thinking he's never going to hear from him again. A week later, he gets a phone call from none other than Mr. Steven Seagal. And Steven Seagal says, hey, I'm going to have a launch meeting at my house here in Hollywood. I need you to fly out here next weekend. So Al's puzzled. He's like, what? Are you kidding me? He goes, no, seriously, I'll pay for your ticket. You got to fly out here next weekend. I got about 200 people going to be at my house. So Al's like, question marks are flying out of his head the whole time. He's wondering, why the heck is he doing this? So he goes to Steven Seagal's house, and sure enough, there's about 200 people there, all of his contacts, things like that, lined up for this presentation. Al does the presentation. A whole bunch of people end up getting in at the end. And afterwards, he pulls Steven Seagal aside because he goes, Steven, I just got to know. He goes, I appreciate all the effort you put in here. I just don't get why you're doing this. And Steven Seagal says, well, I do it because, you make residual income, right? And Al says, well, yeah, we do, but so do you. You make movies. Every time a movie plays, you get paid. He goes, well, I know I make residual income, but the point is, I can teach my family to do what you do. I can't teach them to do what I do. So you see, folks, you don't know who's going to lead you to who. This is why they tell you to never prejudge anybody. Because you don't know who knows who knows who knows who. There are 6 degrees of separation between you and not just Kevin Bacon, but probably the biggest network marketers in the industry, or some of the people who will be the biggest network marketers in the industry. And remember, the moral of the story is all this stuff happened because this little old lady, who the guy that signed her up didn't even want to sign her up, got in the business. So that's called taprooting. Again, folks, talk to a lot of people. Don't prejudge anybody, because you never know who's going to lead you to the next. And it doesn't have to be a movie star. Like I said, it can just be a network marketing star.